For the past 25 years, the Lexus RX has been a near-perfect luxury crossover for millions of people across the globe. In fact, here in the US, this is the most important model for Lexus because the company consistently sells over 100,000 units annually. Now, last year, we saw Lexus give us a fully redesigned 5th generation RX. I first had a chance to drive this vehicle out in California back in September of 2022. But as you can see, this week, Lexus has loaned me what I believe to be the sweet spot in the Lexus RX family. This right here is the 2023 RX 350h. It's essentially the same price as the turbocharged RX 350. However, Lexus swaps out the gas-only engine for a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, pairing it up with 3 electric motors, giving us up to 36 mpg combined. So if you guys are looking for a new Lexus RX, but you want something that's a lot more fuel efficient than most of its competitors, how does the brand new 2023 RX 350h stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the updated styling for this all-new generation RX, with so many different powertrain options, I thought I'd show you guys what's underneath the hood first. Now, Lexus is actually offering a choice of 3 electrified powertrains on the new RX. This model here represents the entry-level point into the RX hybrid family. Now, if you guys are familiar with Toyota and Lexus hybrid products, this engine should be pretty familiar. It's the company's 2.5-liter gasoline direct injection 4-cylinder that runs on the Atkinson cycle. It's a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and it's paired up with 2 electric motors at the front and a separate rear electric motor that gives this vehicle all-wheel drive as standard. And that's kind of the beauty about the 350h. All-wheel drive is standard. On the turbo 350, it is optional, like a $2,000 upcharge. Now, the gas engine on its own delivers 185 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. However, when you combine that with the electric motors, Lexus says you get a total of 246 horsepower and 233 pound-feet of torque. That's about 6 more horsepower versus this powertrain combination in the NX, and about 3 more horsepower versus this powertrain combination in the Toyota Highlander hybrid. It is fed by a 1.6 kilowatt-hour nickel metal hydride battery pack. So it's a very small battery pack. This is not a plug-in hybrid. Lexus does offer a 450h Plus, which they claimed last September that it was going to arrive by mid-2023. Still haven't heard anything from Lexus yet on the arrival of that vehicle. And then there's also the 500h F Sport Performance, which has the turbo engine with 2 electric motors. I've already tested that vehicle. To see that, my review on that car, click on the link in the description below. This model is the fuel efficiency leader, however, at 37 in the city, 34 on the highway, 36 combined. It has a 17-gallon gas tank. Lexus recommends you run it on premium gas to get the most performance, although it should run on regular as well, but that's probably how they got the extra horsepower. With that gas tank and the efficiency, you should be able to do over 600 miles on a full tank. That is literally double the range of any electric vehicle. Lexus also claims 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds. We'll test it out with our equipment and see what we can actually get in the real world. It has a top speed of 112 miles an hour, and you should be able to still tow with this vehicle, a maximum of 3,500 pounds. As this car sits, it weighs in at around 4,400 pounds, so it's about 500 pounds lighter versus the 500h, and it's also lighter versus the vehicle it replaced, the old RX 450h from the prior generation, which had a V6, but was significantly less fuel efficient than this model. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the exterior styling of the new RX. Now, if you guys liked the F Sport package on the 500h or the 350, the 350h does not offer the F Sport package. So you can only get it in the base, the premium, premium plus, or my tester, which is the luxury trim. You can see it has the new Lexus spindle body grille, where it has this new area here where it's completely solid and body colored, which is very controversial when it came out. You can see down here, instead of the intricate L's, we almost have kind of like this diamond pattern in the grille along with the Lexus logo. This vehicle also has the full 360 panoramic view camera, which is a separate charge. And then you can see my tester for $1,700. You can also get the premium triple beam full LED headlights, which are automatic high beams and they're adaptive. You can see you have an LED daytime running light and turn signal. It looks really futuristic. You have these cornering lights. This portion here is actually not the headlight. So you can see here it's just a black plastic trim piece. It's designed to kind of look like part of the headlight. And then down here you also still get LED fog lights, some functional and non-functional vents, along with the well-integrated parking sensors. And this looks like it appears to be a headlight washer, but You don't get that option here, at least in America. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see this particular model is painted in iridium. It's actually a premium color, if you can believe it. It's their silver. You can see it has a lot of beautiful metallic fleck in the actual paint. It's a nice looking silver. I just personally wouldn't choose silver myself. And then Lexus moved this to their new global architectural K architecture, which means the wheelbase was stretched by 2.4 inches. It's still on the short side for the segment at 112.2 inches long. Overall length is around 192.5 inches long. It's the same length as before. However, Lexus made it an inch wider and an inch lower to give it a more sportier, sleeker appearance. All RX models essentially have 8 inches of ground clearance, around 8.1 for this trim, 8.05 if you guys go for an all-wheel drive gas or an F-Sport model. Now you can see the wheels. These are the standard wheels that you get on the luxury trim. It's a 21-inch multi-spoke wheel. I believe it has 20 spokes. It's a very intricate looking wheel with a nice gray finish. It's a 235 by 50 R21-inch tire. And then you have a 13.4-inch brake rotor, front and rear, a dual piston floating design for the front, single piston in the rear. F-Sport models have a bigger 15.5-inch brake rotor with a 6-piston opposed caliper. Now, moving around the rest of the profile, you can see still very instantly recognizable as an RX. I love the fact that Lexus painted the wheel arch moldings here, but you still have the black painted or the black unpainted along the rocker panels. You can see the mirrors are electrically folding. You have integrated turn signals along with cameras built in. Lots of chrome on the vehicle because they don't offer the F-Sport package. And then you can see my tester for 500 bucks also has the panoramic glass roof, which I love. And then moving around the rest of the profile here, you can see it has that signature floating roof design that you get in a lot of RX models. And then as I'm filming this vehicle, Lexus is preparing to reveal the TX, which we should be also be talking about in a first look video as well. But the TX is going to be the 3-row version. Lexus removed the L from this generation because the TX is going to be their new 3-row family SUV. Now at the rear, you can see it's got their new Blade design, full LED taillights, where it has the Lexus the no Lexus logo. It spells out Lexus in the rear. You can see it's got LED turn signals, kind of like a really cool, interesting L pattern in the actual taillight. It's a very distinctive look. You can see without the F-Sport package, the rear diffuser on the bumper is a little bit less aggressive with those fake vents that you find around the side of the vehicle. And then you can see RX 350H badge. That's how you know that this model is the entry-level hybrid version. Now, opening up the trunk, you can see the RX has always been a practical vehicle. You still get around 29.9 cubic feet of storage space with the second row seats up. There's no third row in this vehicle. If you fold down the second row, Lexus claims that it'll expand the cargo to around 46.7. My tester actually has the power folding second row. So you can actually power recline it and you can also power fold it. There are these nice buttons here at the rear. You can see once I push that button, which you also can push a button in the side of the vehicle or on the side of the seat. Once this folds down, however, I will say that it's not a completely flat floor. It actually has a very distinctive slope, which will eat into the cargo space. But like I said, 46.7 cubic feet with the seat folded. That's probably why it's not as high as some competitors, which offer, in the mid 60 cubic feet range. But back here, you can see there's a conventional 1500 watt power outlet, which is nice. There's a really nice cargo floor over here, which has a carpeted floor mat. If you lift this up, you can see Lexus does give you a temporary spare tire, so you don't have to deal with a fix-a-flat kit. So now let's move on to the interior of the fully redesigned Lexus RX 350h. But before we get inside, let me show you guys the key fob. Now you guys, if you had a Lexus before, this fob should look very familiar. All RXs come standard with their intelligent access key. It does have your usual lock, unlock, power liftgate, panic, and then if you want remote start from the fob, just push the lock button 3 times in succession while holding on the third push. That'll remote start the vehicle. If you also have access to the Lexus Inform app, or the Lexus Interface app, you can also remote start, ping the vehicle, do a health report from your smartphone, and you can also use your digital key as a phone, your phone as a key, which is Lexus is offering as well. Now you can see the door handle looks conventional, but this is their new digital latch door handle where you touch this little pressure pad and that opens up the door for you. It doesn't actually move in terms of a physical door handle. And then my tester with the iridium exterior has the peppercorn ultra suede semi-aniline leather. Now this is standard when you guys go for the luxury trim. You can see it's very dark, but this is actually like a very, very dark brown interior. It looks black at times. The Ultra Suede, as you can see, is in the bolsters here. These are heated and ventilated seats. The seats also adjust in 14 different ways, and you also get a 3-person memory on the driver's side. Now, Lexus does not offer massaging seats on the RX. That's something that some competitors offer, but you can see with the upgraded luxury package, you have some nice soft touch materials here, beautiful Ultra Suede. My tester also has the 21 speaker Mark Levinson stereo. For $1,200, it almost doubles the speaker count in this interior, and it's probably a worthy upcharge. I would highly recommend it. Nice, more of the peppercorn brown that you'll find on this portion, and then you can see the digital latch door handles allow you to basically push that opens up the door. You can also pull that in case the power goes out. That'll also open up the door for you. Down here it is hard touch plastic with some nice storage. But getting inside, you can see with 8 inches of ground clearance, this has a nice easy step-in height, which is why so many RX buyers love this vehicle. No soft closed doors on this car, but when you shut the door, it has a nice solid sounding thunk, which really gives you that impression of quality. Now, start-stop button is up here high, which is nice. It's not blocked by the steering wheel when you're sitting in the driver's seat. And then you can see the vehicle starts up with the new Lexus chime, and then most models are going to have the optional 14-inch touchscreen. This is their new Lexus interface infotainment system, built by Toyota Connected Services in Texas. You can see it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and over-the-air updates. My phone wirelessly connected there to CarPlay seamlessly. It's pretty consistent. The biggest disappointment, however, is the instrument panel. You have a 7-inch display here, which is customizable, but this is really a missed opportunity for Lexus. Toyota does a fully digital 12-inch display on vehicles like the Sequoia and Tundra, and even the RAV4, for example. However, Lexus doesn't have that display yet, which I'm hoping they'll be showing us in the new Lexus TX and Lexus GX. Now you can see my tester has a heads-up display. It's a 10-inch heads-up display, which is nice. You have soft touch injection molded plastic on this upper portion, more of that Ultra Suede and black ash wood that you're going to find on the dash. And on the steering wheel, which is nice. The steering wheel, as you can see, is the newer Lexus steering wheel. It's got a power tilt and telescoping design. It's a heated wheel. It's got these touch-sensitive controls, which you can see in the heads-up display, shows you what the control is going to be doing, what the button's doing, which you can change by pushing the buttons on the steering wheel to control different functions. There's also a sensor here that looks at your face because it has the Lexus Safety System 3.0 with traffic jam assist, and you also have paddles on the wheel, which I wasn't expecting to find paddles on the wheel. This is an eCVT, not a geared transmission. The horn sounds good. It sounds nondescript, but it doesn't sound puny. And then you can see that display is slightly customizable. I can change the way this looks by essentially pushing the button on the steering wheel. I can show a different source here. It doesn't have that sliding tachometer, obviously, because it's now a digital display like what you found on some previous generations. But if you want to change the drive mode, just like when I first drove this vehicle, it's in the screen here, which is super annoying. When I switch to sport, it gives me a tachometer. Go to eco or normal, it gives me that kind of power meter. There's also a custom mode where you can customize this to your liking. So again, don't love how the drive mode selector is in the display, but I think that Lexus should have kind of kept that around as an actual hard button. Now you can see the regular infotainment system, when you have it in the standard mode, you can see there's a bottom portion here which always stays as climate, which is nice because the heated and cooled seat control is in the screen now. It's not actually a physical button. There's an automatic setting for both front seats, so you can kind of just hit the auto. It'll have it in the heat or the cool function depending on the temperature. 2-level heated steering wheel, which also has an automatic function as well, which is nice. You can also hit climate. You can adjust a few things there. If you want to go into the settings over here, you can see it'll show you your different all-wheel drive indicator and energy flow meter, which is kind of cool. If you go into the setting display here, you can go to customize, and this vehicle does offer a really cool thematic ambient lighting. So you can see there's 15 different themes of ambient lighting. And I have to say, when I first had the RX 500h F-Sport Performance, that was actually a pre-production car. It was missing the ambient light that was here. Now this car has it, and it looks pretty good when the vehicle is lit up at night. I had it in the afterglow in that B-roll clip. It does have some ambient lighting in the door panels and in the footwells. It doesn't look quite as beautiful as what you'll find in some European automakers, but it's nice to see Lexus is upgrading their ambient lighting, making it look a lot more fancy, a lot more premium, which is nice. When you push this view button here, you can see it gives you that full 360 perimeter scan, which I think is kind of a useless view when it does this. I would much prefer what the Europeans are doing, where it kind of gives you the vehicle and you can kind of swipe around the car. When I put the vehicle into reverse, this is a more useful display with the top-down camera. It has trajectory, it has distance markers, it has the parking sensors front and rear. This also has the auto park feature. If I push that button here, you can see the vehicle will start to look for a parking spot. If I push that, it'll start starts scanning for a parking spot, but it also notices that my seatbelt isn't fastened. So that's a $250 upcharge for the automatic parallel park, which is fine. It works okay. You can see there's your embedded GPS, which it's part of the connected drive experience, which is a cloud-based navigation system. It will not work, however, if you guys don't have cell phone service, so kind of keep that in mind. Most people are just going to use the Apple CarPlay, so service activation required. This model hasn't been activated yet. Most people will use the CarPlay, which, as you can see, looks great. It's a nice large widescreen display. The resolution is fantastic. So it's kind of okay that Lexus didn't really do a wonderful navigation like you'll find in like an Audi, for example. Now you can see here, your vents are down here. You have two USB-C charging ports with two more USBs, an A and a C. You have a wireless phone charging pad here, which actually works pretty well at charging my phone. Some Toyota vehicles, the wireless charging pad is kind of useless. More storage here. You can see there's more of that black ash wood, which looks really nice, although some people may actually not even notice that it's wood. The cup holder, you can see, if I push that, has two levels of tiers. So if I push this down, this is for taller mugs and big cups, whatever. But if you push that, it'll give you a more shallow cup holder. There's an actual EV mode here, which allows you to drive the vehicle in electric only mode at very low speeds at short distances. There's also a trail mode here in the all-wheel drive system. You can activate a brake hold feature. This shifter, you can see, you push it up or to the left and then up for reverse, which gives you the camera. Push it back to the left and hold it for neutral, and then come down for drive. Push P to go to park. And then there's also a sport setting here. If you guys want to have it in a sports setting, just kind of put it into that sports setting there, which there's also a sports setting, as you guys saw in the instrument panel. And you can see padded center console, which offers a very deep storage. You can see all my camera gear fit in there perfectly. And it also offers two different ways that you can open it, which is kind of nice. The seats, like I said earlier, these are the semi-aniline, ultra suede peppercorn seats. They're comfortable, they're supportive. No massaging function, but the heated and cooled function works really well. You have ambient, or you have LED map lighting in here. And then my tester also has the $500 panoramic glass roof, which you can see has a power retractable shade. This also opens up and tilts, but what you can see when you have it open, it goes all the way into the back seat, lets in a lot of light, which is very nice, especially for a dark cabin like this. But overall, the interior definitely has all the tech and luxury features I expect, aside from that kind of dated looking small instrument cluster screen. This is definitely one of the nicer interiors you're going to find, and the build quality is impeccable. It's exactly what you expect from a Lexus vehicle. Now looking at the back seat, you can see Lexus claims that the legroom back here is a little over 37.4 inches. Now that's actually a little bit less, about an inch less than the prior generation. When I first drove this vehicle, they didn't have the final legroom figures yet, but now they do because the car has been on sale. My tester has an optional heated and ventilated second row seat, which is very rare in the segment. And you also have the power recline and power folding function. So you can see, push this little button here, it'll recline the seat. That's how far back it reclines, which is pretty nice. Most people will kind of have it in this more upright setting. You can see my tester also has the manual rear sunshades, which definitely adds a good degree of privacy back here. You have soft touch injection molded plastic, more of that ultra suede, nice padded area here with the peppercorn leather. And then you can see the digital latch door handles also carry over. Once I get back here, you can see, even though the legroom number isn't the highest, for somebody my height, you can see this is my driving position. I have plenty of space here, good foot space. The floor is not completely flat. It's a little bit raised up here, but this is pretty good space in terms of legroom. I can get back here and cross my legs pretty well. In terms of headroom space, you can see it does come up a little bit lower than I expected because of the panoramic roof. So without this, you should have a little bit more headroom space. You can see heated and ventilated seats, which is a nice touch. Part of the luxury package, or I'm sorry, it's an optional $650 extra to get the heated and ventilated seats, which also pairs in the power reclining and power folding option. You have two more USB-C charging ports. You have rear seat air vents. You have two storage cubbies over here. And then you also have an armrest that folds down and gives you two cup holders in here, along with a little bit more storage. But overall, you can see the back seat, even though it's not the most spacious in the segment, it definitely is going to be spacious enough for most people. And it also offers some of the features that you expect in a vehicle with this kind of price tag. So it's been about 9 months since I had a chance to drive the entire Lexus RX family when Lexus first introduced this vehicle to the media out in Santa Barbara, California. I already had a chance to drive the 500h F Sport Performance back home about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. Blown away with the pinnacle of the RX family. I think it's got a great balance between performance and efficiency. However, this week we're in the 350h, which is, I think, going to be the sweet spot for most RX buyers because it gets about 10 mpg better than the 500h, even though it gives up 120 horsepower. This is about the same price as the 350 turbo non-hybrid. So it's kind of an enticing blend to get way better efficiency, the best efficiency in the segment, because this is the only conventional hybrid. Now, Lexus claims it should get to 60 in around 7.4 seconds. So let's go ahead and see what we can get in our actual testing. We'll brake torque it. This car comes standard with all-wheel drive, and 246 horsepower is certainly impressive enough. 7.25 seconds, that's actually pretty good. I'm really surprised at how quick this vehicle actually is in day-to-day usage. Now, compared to the 500h, which I tested a couple months ago, that got 5.7 seconds on that same stretch. Now, it's got 120 more horsepower, but it also carries around 500 pounds more weight. However, I think for this segment of vehicle, for the typical buyer in the RX family, you're gonna find this to be pretty sufficient. And the cool thing is while I haven't had a chance to drive the 358 or the 350 turbo in an extended period, I think I got around 7.6 in California when I first had a chance to test that vehicle. So not bad in terms of acceleration. And I think, again, it should be sufficient for most people considering the price point and the efficiency of this car. Let's go ahead and try it on this stretch. We're not gonna brake torque it this time, we're just gonna floor it. Strong power off the line. Not the most pleasant sounds, of course, but the eCVT just keeps the engine in the meat of the power band, 7.93 there. So that's kind of going to be the kind of performance you're going to get in day-to-day driving for most people. And it is going to be sufficient. The interesting thing about it, however, is this powertrain is actually about the same quickness as the old RX 450h. The previous generation, which paired a V6 with 3 electric motors, that powertrain was significantly heavier and it also significantly less fuel efficient. So that's one of the reasons why Lexus is deciding to offer this powertrain combination. It's just kind of a no-brainer. It has enough power for the majority of people looking in this segment. Now, in day-to-day driving, the RX 350h is still really easy to drive. The vehicle feels a lot smaller when you're driving the vehicle from the dimensions on the outside. It has a comfortable, controlled ride quality. It has excellent, smooth and responsive steering. The suspension is soft. You can't get the F-Sport handling package on this trim, which is fine. I think that's a fine decision for Lexus because this is going to appeal to the more traditional buyers in this class. And then when you want power, just put your foot down. The eCVT is really responsive in putting the engine in the meat of the power band. It does have a lot of noise though. For a Lexus vehicle, that engine groaning noise is loud. Although I have the vehicle in sport mode right now, I'm going to try one more 0 to 60 up ahead just to see if we can get a consistent time, and then I'll switch it to its normal setting and we'll see if that will quiet down the engine, because most people aren't going to be putting their foot down that hard like I do to test out the acceleration. But we'll take a right here. We'll see how it feels around this corner. No wheel spin at all. Remember, this has standard all-wheel drive with a separate E-axle at the back. Now, not as powerful as the 500h, but still plenty powerful on its own. And once you're cruising along at speed, I hear very little wind noise, very little road noise. I got a great ride quality, even though I've got 21-inch wheels, and I don't have adaptive dampers on this trim, but it still rides really well. I mean, that's the beauty about the RX, is it's just a really well-balanced, well-rounded crossover that's going to appeal to a lot of luxury buyers. Now, we're still in sport. We're just going to floor it. No brake torque this time, no wheel spin. Again, 7.25 seconds, so very, very consistent performance. And I'm impressed. It's got a good amount of power that I think should suffice for most people. But let's go ahead and switch or turn down this road, and I'll switch the drive mode, which frustratingly, Lexus puts it in this screen here where I have to go to the vehicle setting, go to drive mode, go to normal. That was the front cross traffic alert telling me there's a car coming. So now we're back into the normal drive setting here, which I really hate how Lexus has put that in the actual display over here. What was wrong with a button that the NX has, for example? But just driving the car normally, you can hear that 4-cylinder still kind of drones a little bit, but I'm only applying maybe a quarter throttle. That's how most people are gonna drive this vehicle. But it does get up to speed nice because of the 3 electric assist motors. These electric motors are more powerful than the previous generation. The vehicle has enough torque, low-end torque, to get up to speed where you don't have to push the engine quite as hard. And that's where the majority of RX buyers are going to be driving this vehicle. They're not going to be pushing it past half throttle, because when I put my foot down here, it just has enough acceleration because of the impressive low-end torque of the electric motor and the responsiveness of the transmission. It doesn't offer any regen one-pedal driving effect, but you can feel it does recharge the battery when you come to, or when you're letting off the throttle, you're slowing down. You could feel it adding some charge back. It also tells you when you're in EV mode or when you're in hybrid mode or when you're in gas engine mode or whatever. That little display there shows you what is applying the power at all times, which is definitely nice. The heads-up display is also a nice touch. It kind of gives you control. You can also use these little touch controls here where it shows you in the heads-up display what option you're trying to change and whatnot. In terms of the fuel efficiency, that is the most important aspect of this model because it's rated to get 37 in the city, 34 on the highway, 36 combined. Now, in my week's worth of testing, I actually averaged around 32 mpg in mostly highway usage. Now, that's a little bit less than what the EPA says at 34. However, in around town city driving and stop and go traffic, that's where hybrids like this excel. I averaged 36 mpg, which is bang on with their combined rating. It's actually a pretty good number, actually, because I got around 25 mpg in the RX 500h in a similar test when I had that vehicle. So this definitely gets 10 mpg better, and it's significantly better efficiency versus the turbo engine. So this is why this model here is going to be the sweet spot. And the beauty about it is if you guys plan to take a lot of road trips, this model will also do over 500 miles on a full tank. When Lexus dropped it off, it was showing around 550. If you guys are really conservative with your throttle inputs, you should be able to actually break 600 miles because we have a 17-gallon fuel tank times 36 mpg, you're looking at over 600 miles of range. I mean, that's double the range of a lot of electric-only vehicles. So that's the one thing about these conventional hybrids that Toyota and Lexus does really well is efficiency and long range, especially for those of you who plan to take a lot of longer road trips. But overall, I haven't had a chance to drive the 350 Turbo, and the 450h is still unknown in terms of when it's coming. Lexus originally promised us mid next year, which is approaching. We're almost in mid 2023 now. I'll put an update somewhere in the comment section once Lexus gets back to me, lets me know when that model will be showing up. But in terms of how this model fits, I think it's the perfect addition. I think it's going to be the sweet spot. If you guys are considering the turbo engine, you have to consider this because it's the same price and it gets significantly better efficiency, offers similar acceleration, and it just still delivers that quiet luxury car feel that Lexus RX buyers demand. However, with this new generation, it just has such significantly improved technology, and it still has that impeccable build quality that you expect from a Lexus vehicle. So after spending a full week with the conventional hybrid, the RX 350h, I have to say the current generation RX improved on so many issues that I had with the previous generation. The infotainment system is better, the styling is a little bit sleeker, a little bit more distinctive, and it still offers the same luxury car feel that you expect from an RX. The 350h, however, is the powertrain that I think Lexus should be pushing more to buyers. I mean, when we first drove this vehicle out in California, they claimed that the 350 turbo engine would be the volume seller. However, for the same price, you can get this model, which, as you guys saw, I got 36 mpg in the city, 32 in highway usage. It delivers 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds. And even though the engine doesn't always sound the best when you're really pushing it, most people won't be pushing it as hard as I do in day-to-day driving, the performance is pretty much on par with the gas turbo engine, but you get significantly better gas mileage than even the RX 500h F Sport Performance, which, as you guys saw in my last review of that vehicle, had way better acceleration. Now, in terms of sportiness, this is where the RX falls short. There are crossovers that give you a better driving dynamic feel. However, that's never really been the mission of the RX. I mean, they do offer an F Sport handling package, and the RX 500h is designed to appeal to enthusiasts. But for the everyday RX, the typical RX buyer who's trading in their old generation, this is the model you're going to want to get because it just offers such a well-rounded feel, and it's also the only conventional hybrid that you're going to find in the segment, which means it's more affordable than its competitors, it's going to be more reliable than its competitors, and it's going to be less complex. And if you want a plug-in hybrid, the 450h Plus is still coming at some point. We just don't know when it's going to be showing up in the US market. Now, speaking of which, if you are looking to get your hands on this vehicle, the base RX 350 Turbo starts at around $48,550. That's for a front-wheel drive model. If you want all-wheel drive, $50,550 is the base price for the Turbo, which is the same price as this model, the base RX 350h base version. Now, most people are probably going to go to the premium trim which is gonna be about $2,000 more. It's gonna add the upgraded interior appointments, including some upgraded tech. The Premium Plus trim is gonna give you the 14-inch display and the heated and ventilated seats, which is also included, I believe, in the Premium trim. This luxury grade that I'm showing you is around $57,000 to start. However, my tester has a lot of a la carte options on it, from the Mark Levinson stereo, the panoramic view monitor, the panoramic sunroof. This model here with the premium paint and whatnot and the destination charge comes to $66,400. Now, 66 grand sounds like a lot of money for a typical RX buyer, but keep in mind, if you guys are looking at a Mercedes, a BMW, an Audi hybrid, a Volvo hybrid, those are gonna easily be between $20,000 to $30,000 more. I mean, the direct rivals to this, there are no direct rivals because nobody offers an actual conventional hybrid in the space except for Lexus. Acura doesn't offer it, Infiniti doesn't offer it, the European brands don't offer it. So Lexus is truly standing on its own here, and it really shows their commitment to offering a variety of electrified powertrains. Although, you know, some people may say that Lexus is behind in the electrification space in terms of battery electric vehicles. The RZ is a clear example of that. If you want a conventional hybrid with excellent range, but really easy, you know, daily drivability and tons of reliability and build quality, this model here represents still the best in the industry. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Lexus RX 350h in the luxury package. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.